Hello, this is Donnie, Mrs. D. We're going to start right where we left off with our beginning code overview. We're going to take a look over here at program.cs, and I want to pick up with this line of code. This line of code right here, we could rewrite this. I'm going to do 2 forward slashes to comment it out by declaring a variable of type form main, called my form. We're going to set it equal to a new object in memory, form main. Then I'm going to pass that object to application run and pass the object my form, and voila, the form will show. These 2 lines of code are exactly the same as this 1 line of code. Now then we're going to go ahead and look at this keyword new. New says create or construct a new object in memory. So let's go to our form main. We're going to take a look at this class, and we're going to look at its constructor, which is the same name as the class. This was automatically created for you, and in this point the object is going to initialize everything that we added at design time. One thing to take a look at, I'd like you to take a look now, is up at the class definition. Our class form main is derived from another class. This class is system Windows form.form, and we got a reference to that through our .NET library. We added a using statement up here, system Windows.forms. In this namespace exists this object. We are going to derive our object from this one. This is called inheritance, and it's going to have all the properties, methods, and events that have been exposed or that are public to us in this form. Now then, this is important because the next thing that happens after our constructor has been called, the proper place for us to initialize and run our own unique code is in the event form load. But notice that we didn't write anything about for the event form load. We inherited that event from system form. We'll select our form in our designer, take a look at system form, and click on this lightning bolt. And here you'll see a whole host of events associated with this object. But we're not going to write code for every one of these events. The ones that we are concerned about in this demonstration are the events form load and form closing. Here you'll see that the method or the event handler for this particular event is form main underscore load. Let's take a look at what's in there. Well, we have another method for customize. We'll go on down and take a brief look at customize. In customize, I went ahead and changed some properties for some controls that already exist. I wrote a method to deal cards, and I also have gone in and I have added a single event handler for all 16 cards. Now I did this in a for each statement because I didn't want to go to my designer and click on all 16 of these picture boxes and then add this method. That just takes too much time. So I used a for loop, the for each. A for each goes through a collection, and you can get the code for this by typing for each and then hit the tab key twice, and you'll get a skeleton of what a for each statement looks like. Notice it works on collections. These controls are a collection of type collection. So let's take a look. For each, first thing I had to do is define what kind of object is in my collection. A control is in my collection of controls. And then I said, well, you know what, I want to be even more narrow than that, because the collection of controls here are actually all picture boxes. Let's take a look at where this table layout panel is. Over here, here's my table layout panel. Let's click on this box around my picture boxes, and you'll be able to see over here in the property window I have a container that has, it's called Table Layout Panel. And inside of that, I have added 16 picture boxes. Inside of my customized code, I have said go through each one of those 16 controls, cast them or change their type to a picture box, and then set that individual control, hits click event, add an event handler. I want this method, okay, to handle this event. When the user clicks on the picture box, I want the form, the Windows form, to handle the event by calling the picture box underscore click method. One important thing to note here is that I did not create a new picture box. There's no new keyword. I did not get a new object in memory. I merely got a reference to my object in memory. My reference is icon picture box, okay, and it is pointing back to my control, which is pointing into my control box. There we go. I have now finished loading this form load, and it should show to my users. We're going to go back over and we're going to put another breakpoint in the form closing. This is the place where you want to write any code to clean up maybe write event logs, save application settings, and clean up any objects that you have out there in memory. In this case, I have an image processing object, okay, which has all my images, and I want to click clear that dictionary list. I want to clear out my deck of cards, and then I'll go ahead and finish. So let's go ahead and run. Let's put a breakpoint on form load so you can see when it loads, and on form closing. Hit F5. Notice we're into customize. I'm going to hit F5. This is my exit button. My exit button, okay, is eventually is going to tell my application to stop running, and when that happens, the form is going to close. Here I'm going to go ahead and hit F11. All I'm doing is cleaning up some objects, and then I'm going to exit my application, and I'm going to dispose of my resources. There we go. I think I hit F5 twice. I'm sorry. Let's go through that one more time. F5. We run our object. I'm going to go here to exit, and I'm going to hit F5, and my object, my application is no longer running. But we went through, when we close out our form, we cleaned things up. I called this method on image processing to clean things up, cleaned up my deck of cards, and I am done. One important thing to note right here is the signature of the event handler includes the object as well as the events. There are different types of arguments. The most generic is event args. All of our controls that we interact with have an event. So let's go over to our design and take a look and add an event handler. Alright. I didn't want that there for you already, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Here you go. Now then, we're going to take a look. We're going to add a component, and then we're going to add a control, and then we're going to add an event handler for it. Let's take our radio button, drag it over. Now then, we're going to give our radio button a better name. It's radio button Darth. Alright, line it up nice and pretty. We're going to give it a name. Radio button Darth. Oh, I think I updated the text. We're going to find its text. Its text name is Darth. Alright. It could be more Vader. Here we go. And next thing we want to do is add an event for that. We're going to click on that lightning bolt. Check changed. I'm going to double click and it added a checked changed event handler for me. I am going to go ahead and cut this. And I'm going to find my other radio buttons because I like to keep my code in the same place. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and Control V to place that code there. And the very first thing I'm going to do is this picture. First thing I want to do is set my image. I have an object in memory called image processing, and I'm going to get the pictures of Darth. This is the index, so it has to be exact. The next thing I want to do is update my text box. This is my actual form, my text box lifeform.text. I'm going to set this equal to a cyborg or organic and robotic construction. And I want to refresh this text box because sometimes when you make a change, the display doesn't refresh automatically, so this forces a refresh. Let's take a look at where these components are on my form. Alright, the forms on my form, this is my description of my life form, and this is where my picture box of my humanoid is. Alright, we really ought to change its name to life form, but we won't at this point. Alright, so now then I have an event handler that handles the event check changed, okay, for this particular guy. So I'm going to put this in here, hit an F9, hit F5. Okay, I'm going to remove this breakpoint by clicking on it, hit F5. And now we have Yoda, we have R2-D2, C-3PO, Chewie, and Darth Vader. Now we clicked on that, that event has fired and our event handler is catching it. It is going to go ahead and it's going to look for, in my list, Darth Vader. And it found it, and it placed it, a cyborg of organic and robotic construction. Alright, there we go. I think I did some, notice this. These properties for Han and Luke on this checkbox are disabled. I don't really like that, so we're going to hit F5. It may not be disabled in yours, but that brings up a property that we can look at. I'm going to go over here to Han. I'm going to select it. And I'm going to go to my properties window, and I'm going to look for enabled where it says false. I'm going to set it to true because I like it so that the user can click on it. Alright. Now then, I want to take a look at another event handler. I want you to go click on the button exit, and I want you to say view code. And we should go to our button exit click event. Here we go. Now then, I'm going to just say console dot right line. The button exit click event. It's fired. Here we go. We'll put a breakpoint here, F9, and I'd like you to view. And then where is our output window? I want to be sure to see that. And let's go, F5. Look at this. This is a great way to do some debugging. Console write line will write from a Windows app into your output window right here. And I just said console write line, button, exit, click event has fired. This just helps me see where I am in code. Maybe I don't want to stop, but it tells me that this event has fired. And by doing view output window, we can write lines, we can say what's the value of a variable, we can just add information to help us debug our app. Our application exit is going to be called, and when that happens, our form is going to unload. Here's our form closing event. I'm sorry, form closing, not unload. And we're going to step through that and run it, and our app has ended. This concludes this demonstration of forms, events, classes, objects, constructors, and adding controls. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.